happened to Summer?
No.
Do you know who took Summer?
No.
Home when you first come
No,
home.
I'm not doing all that. I'm not going all the way back. I can't do this.
So listen,
Yeah, right.
they're trying to
No.
help. They're trying to help.
It's not helping me.
I know, but they might.
There's nothing more to remember. I want to go home.
At exactly 4:30 p.m., law enforcement made their move. What was once a quiet, unremarkable warehouse on the edge of Hawkins County suddenly erupted into chaos. Flashing lights, tactical units, and investigators pouring inside. For hours, the building had sat unnoticed, tucked away from the main roads, blending into the background. But on this day, it became the epicenter of one of the most shocking developments in the Summer Wells case. Neighbors watched from a distance, stunned, as investigators sealed off the area. Something serious had been discovered, something that could no longer be hidden. And tonight, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has confirmed what many feared all along. There is shocking new evidence that could finally unravel the mystery surrounding Summer Wells' disappearance, and perhaps point to the truth that has eluded investigators for over 4 years. For more than 4 long years, the disappearance of 5-year-old Summer Wells has haunted not only her family, but her entire community and millions of people who have followed every twist and turn of this heartbreaking case across the world. Every lead, every search, every unanswered question has kept hope alive, even as doubt and despair slowly crept in. But now, investigators may finally be closing in on real answers. Sources have confirmed that a major police raid was carried out at a warehouse tied to ongoing tips connected to the Summer Wells investigation. What looked like just another quiet, ordinary building suddenly became the center of a law enforcement storm. Witnesses described the scene: officers swarming the area, crime scene tape sealing the perimeter, and unmarked vehicles lining the street. Inside, teams of officers, working alongside TBI agents, spent hours combing through every corner. And when they emerged, they weren't empty-handed. They were seen carrying evidence bags, sealed containers, and entire boxes of collected material, each one marked, sealed, and guarded with intense caution. The sight immediately sparked speculation. What was hidden inside that warehouse? What was so important that it demanded such a massive and coordinated operation? Could this be the breakthrough investigators have been waiting for since June 15th, 2021? June 15th, 2021. A day that changed everything in Hawkins County. A day burned into memory, impossible to forget. That was the afternoon when 5-year-old Summer Wells vanished from her family's home in Rogersville, Tennessee. In a matter of minutes, the ordinary became extraordinary. One moment, Summer was there, laughing, playing a child full of life. The next, she was simply gone. Panic spread quickly. Phone calls were made. Sirens cut through the quiet hills. And almost immediately, a search of unprecedented scale began. Helicopters thundered overhead. Drones swept the sky. Specialized K, 9 units fanned out through the dense woods. Entire search and rescue teams slogged through creeks, ravines, and miles of unforgiving Appalachian terrain. And it wasn't just law enforcement. Volunteers, neighbors, strangers, friends came together with flashlights, ATVs, and sheer determination. For days, for weeks, they scoured every corner of Hawkins County, searching for even the smallest trace. Hundreds upon hundreds of tips poured in. The phone lines never stopped ringing. Leads came from near and far. And yet, every trail went cold. The little girl in the pink shirt and bare feet had seemingly vanished without a trace. But while the public searches eventually faded, the investigation itself never did. Behind closed doors, investigators pressed on, quietly, patiently, exhaustively. Every scrap of information was logged, every interview revisited, every inconsistency picked apart. And though the world grew quieter, the case never left the desks or the minds of those still chasing answers. And now, more than 4 long years later, that silence has finally been broken. At exactly 4:30 p.m., in a move that no one saw coming, law enforcement descended on a warehouse. A quiet, nondescript building on the outskirts of Hawkins County suddenly became the epicenter of one of the most explosive developments in the Summer Wells case to date. The raid was swift and calculated. Officers moved in with purpose. Within moments, the scene transformed. Marked cars lined the road. Agents poured in and out of warehouse doors, and the atmosphere shifted from routine to extraordinary. Neighbors watched in stunned silence as evidence bags, sealed boxes, and tightly secured containers were carried out and loaded into waiting vehicles. Cameras clicked. Radios buzzed. Every movement was deliberate. And then came the confirmation. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation released a statement that ignited speculation across the nation. Significant items of interest have been recovered. Those 5 words, carefully chosen, deliberately measured, landed like a thunderclap. The TBI did not elaborate. They did not specify whether the items were physical objects, personal belongings, or biological evidence. They did not say whether these items pointed to a suspect or directly to Summer herself. But one word stood out above the rest. Significant. It wasn't vague. It wasn't routine. This was no ordinary discovery. It was enough to send shockwaves through the community and reignite questions that have haunted this case since the very beginning. What exactly was found inside that warehouse? Why now, after more than 4 years? And most importantly, does this finally mean that the truth about Summer Wells is closer than it has ever been before? Neighbors who live near the warehouse say they knew something was different the moment they saw the first vehicle pull up. It wasn't a marked patrol car. It wasn't routine. Instead, it was a convoy of unmarked SUVs, followed by tactical units and state vehicles that quickly surrounded the property. One witness described it like this. They came in fast, quiet, like they knew exactly what they were looking for. No hesitation, no wasted time. It wasn't a search, it was a recovery. For hours, the normally quiet street transformed into a scene of high tension. Officers in tactical gear secured the perimeter while investigators and detectives entered the warehouse. The heavy steel door swung shut behind them, leaving neighbors to speculate about what might be happening inside. Time dragged on. The raid stretched from minutes into hours. And then, finally, the door reopened. What people saw stunned them. Agents began carrying out sealed evidence bags, large boxes, and tightly locked containers, each one carefully handled. Each one placed into vehicles waiting to transport them directly to state labs for analysis. It was clear to everyone watching. Something inside that building mattered. Something inside that building had the potential to change the course of this investigation. For many in the community, this was the moment they had been waiting for. After 4 years of pain, rumors, false leads, and endless speculation, this felt different. This felt real. Some whispered that this could finally be the breakthrough moment. The first genuine lead since Summer vanished. Maybe a piece of clothing. Maybe DNA. Maybe something that could tie a suspect to the missing girl once and for all. But others, hardened by disappointment, remained cautious. They had seen moments like this before. Searches that led nowhere. Tips that burned bright and then fizzled out. For them, the sight of evidence being hauled away wasn't hope. It was just another question mark in a case already overflowing with them. Still, one truth remained undeniable. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation does not use the word significant lightly. Every press release, every statement in this case has been deliberately measured, carefully chosen. They have held their cards close to their chest for years. So for them to step forward now and confirm that significant items of interest have been recovered, that is no small detail. This is not routine procedure. This is not background noise. This is a signal. The TBI would not put their credibility on the line unless they believe with confidence that what they discovered inside that warehouse has the potential to matter. And the haunting question now is, could this be the evidence that finally brings Summer Wells home? So now the world is asking, what exactly was inside that warehouse? Was it a piece of clothing? A lock of hair? Something that unmistakably belonged to Summer? Who led authorities there? Was it the result of years of undercover surveillance, a confidential informant? Or perhaps the confession whispered behind closed doors? And perhaps the most chilling question of all, does this mean someone has finally been caught hiding the truth? For 4 long years, the Summer Wells case has been a story shrouded in silence, a story of whispers, shadows, and unanswered questions. Leads have come and gone. Searches have surged and collapsed, And through it all, a family and community has lived with the unbearable ache of not knowing. But with this raid, something has changed. The silence may finally be breaking. Neighbors who once doubted anything would ever come of this case are now daring to hope. People who long ago stopped believing in justice are beginning to ask themselves if this very moment could mark the beginning of the end of the mystery. Because if this evidence is what many believe it could be, if these significant items of interest prove to be the breakthrough investigators have waited years to uncover, then justice for Summer Wells is no longer a dream. It is finally within reach. And tonight, across Tennessee and far beyond, one question echoes louder than the rest. Is this the moment the truth finally comes out?